Salah. In the middle of nowhere, people always. Hello? Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry for that mix-up. Wonder and tend to look for solutions. The story is told of a little boy who abandoned his family to go work and help the destitute. This could be the story of many southern Cameroonians as the war slowly enters into the fourth year. As Muslims celebrate today after fasting for 40 days, the story about the little boy comes to mind. Muslims abandoned all earthly pleasures, committed themselves to Allah, and we join them today to celebrate this new life. While this new life is amazing and fruitful, our human nature obliges us to look back, evaluate the present, and project into the future to see if, like the little boy, we have and Southern Cameroonian destitute. In today's edition of the conversation, we evaluate Southern Cameroon's journey so far since 2016 and throw an important eye into the relationship between Switzerland and the Southern Cameroon's movement. At the techniques, I have Pen Tango, and at the anchor, I am Ngalim Bernard. I will introduce my guest when we come back. Pen, can I have a transition?
You are breaking. I hope it's not the same for the viewers because you break with me. So I.
Did you hear my introduction well, or it was breaking?
I heard part of it, and even now the well, the word well you used was breaking. Besides the other things that came clear. So.
Okay.
And I'm definitely sure it's not me this time.
Yeah, it's not you. Let's see what happens.
All right. Better now.
Okay, thank you. All right. Today we are receiving and he is one of those who has been taking a lead in seeking for justice in the Amazonian movement, and he's a justice and peace crusader. Abdul, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Comrade Galim, and thank you, televiewers. And of course, dear Southern Cameroonians and Muslims, Eid Mubarak. By the way, in your introduction, I'm sure you perhaps it's a slip of a tongue, but Muslims only fast for 30 days, not 40.
That was definitely a slip of the tongue. Thank you.
Yes. All right. However, you're not wrong. That's a tradition of Jesus and Moses. Jesus fasted 40 days, and then also Moses did 40 days. So it's not a big slip.
All right, thank you. So, going to the program of today, how do you mix, or how are you enjoying this feast day today?
Oh, well, Alhamdulillah, family back home are doing what they can, but myself, because of the COVID situation, and I'm a stranger in DC, so I just prayed back here where I am, and my little feast is just within me. So we thank God that family is doing something, and other Southern Cameroonians, especially on ground zero, they are celebrating best they can. But we encourage them to still keep safe distance. This pandemic is real.
All right, and what exactly are Muslims celebrating today?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Muslims are celebrating Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr is the feast after Ramadan. So basically, they are celebrating the fact that they were privileged to be amongst those who have fasted this year, because many people would have wanted, but they died one day before Ramadan started, or perhaps a month before. By the way, Ramadan is the holiest month in Islam. It's the 9th month with a lot of benefits. So Muslims have the belief that if they enter into the month sincerely and pray sincerely, their life demand will be granted, and of course also their past will be forgiven. So there's a lot, and it's a month that encourages Muslims to engage in the study of the Quran and a lot of charity in order to multiply every good deed towards humanity. So this is why they are celebrating that they have been able to beg for forgiveness, they have been able to interact with the Quran, they have been able to share the little they have, and they are celebrating the fact that God, inshallah, would have accepted their prayer. This is why celebration, again, is still a part of worship, because they'll be distributing the little they have with people who are less privileged.
Thank you. We are sorry about the technical hitches that have kind of made us unstable at the beginning of the program, and we are sorry for starting this program late. This is because of the technical hitches you must have experienced from our end. So, significant. People are saying you more and more.
I cannot hear you, sir.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, it's better now.
All right. So,
excuse me, I think the problem would be with your mic, because when you calm down, it works. When you start talking, there is some frequency which is not right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it sounds better.
4 years down the line in this revolutionary movement, your role is changing, and people are having people get to see you more. You are taking a more open stand now as opposed to 2 or 3 years back. What assessment do you make of this Amazonian of this Southern Cameroon's movement as it stands?
Oh, thank you. Let me begin by praising God and ask Him to send His peace and blessings upon His messengers, to Southern Cameroonians, to Muslims, to non-Muslims, to you who've invited me, and to our technical team, and to other viewers. Peace be with you. I'm not sure what you mean by stance of change, but let me say this. The fundamental, which is justice for myself and the people of Southern Cameroon, getting our rights back as a self-determined people, a right which we are not debating as a matter of fact, because Resolution 1608 gave this to us. That one has not changed. But of course, a human being should be able to be flexible. The first 2 years, when the revolution escalated, or the Southern Cameroon problems escalated, a lot of us were ignorant. A lot of people were ignorant. We were out there to sell our product, to make the international community understand clearly, to even make our people get emancipated. And this had to do with education, reiterating on the history, the facts on the ground. That we have achieved. God has given us that. We've passed 100% on that. We've beaten the idea of federalism, swept it under the rug. That one has been done. We cannot keep repeating that. It doesn't make any sense. It has changed to another level. Whether or not we like it, what you want, you cannot get it. You only get what you negotiate. Our problem is getting to that level where we have to negotiate. We need to adapt, be elastic and readaptable to the reality of things. In other words, we need to start realizing that the time for preaching history is past. Our language, our charisma has to change, because we have the attention of the international community. We must learn the right language. We must do the right things. We must understand basics. Does this mean we've dropped our fundamentals? No. The foundation is there, but the architecture keeps changing. And if we remain like concrete all set up, we are the ones to lose, because it is our revolution, and we understand that it takes patterns. Now it is at stage 3, and we want to stay at stage 1. That wouldn't be right either.
All right. Do you think over the last 4 years there has been significant progress on based on the theoretical analysis you've made? Do you think Southern Cameroonians have moved from step 1 to step 2 to step 3?
Oh, yeah. Without revolutionary theory, there is no revolutionary movement. Of course, we've established a theory. Our people are free in their head. You can see that. Our territory has been ungovernable for the past 4 years. Actually, in my opinion, La République du Cameroon has been defeated diplomatically. War starts when diplomacy fails. Their diplomacy failed, they started war, and they have been defeated still at war. Have we progressed? Yes. Most, if not 99.9% of Southern Cameroonians, 100% know what the problem is. They now can differentiate between the symptom and the root cause, which is the parasite. We all know that. And of course, we have to be thankful and be grateful to God that South Sudan took 20 years for them to get proper international attention. Eritrea, 35 years. A lot of countries, it took long, but God has blessed Southern Cameroons with a lot of academia and a lot of God-fearing people. It took us just 3 years for us to get the kind of attention that others took 20 years to get. So are we on the same spot? No, we've moved. Unfortunately, we are moving like a scattered group of chicks. In other words, the hen is right there and the chicks are all scattered. That is just a problem. But are we on the same spot?
Are you surprised at that kind of movement, the scattered movement?
Am I surprised? I wouldn't be surprised, given that I am a student of human beings. I understand what humans are, but I'm surprised at the level at which we do it, despite our understanding of our cause and despite our reality and despite our education. I'm taken aback at the focus on the little differences and the ignoring the major thing. In other words, we've been dealing with informants. We've been dealing with the informants instead of the information. I'm taken aback that mature, civilized, and educated people would really want to lose focus and perhaps drag results that could come sooner. They want to drag it later simply because of ego and pride. I'm taken aback. Yeah.
So, talking about lessons taken so far, you are one of those who have been arrested and released. I know you've spoken about the reasons or how you were arrested and what happened and before your release and how you feel about it. But my question is not going to be on that. My question is going to be on the lessons you learned from that arrest. What lessons did you take from that arrest, and what do you have to share with Southern Cameroonians about that?
Oh, there's simply one lesson which everyone who has been incarcerated will take. But I could have two other lessons. Number one is that La République du Cameroon thinks we are her slave. So when we keep fighting ourselves, La République du Cameroon does not categorize us as big and small terrorists. They call all of us terrorists. The lesson I've learned is that it's either we thrive together and succeed, or we fail. It is us and them. So when we ourselves keep looking I and him, us and them within ourselves, it's a shame. I've learned one thing from that arrest, that these people don't care about Southern Cameroonians, they care about the resources. According to them, our lives mean nothing. I didn't learn just from my experience. I learned from the experience of not just from what happened to me, but from what was happening to other people. Old women, like the mother of Chris Ano. What I saw, I cried for 5 days simply because this woman will not sleep because of fever. You will hear her crying and there's nothing you can do. And then you imagine if that were your mother, would you not die in that very cell? And she was there with her own. So they don't care about us. Whether you're young, you're old, you're small, you're big, you're rich, you're poor, all of us are terrorists in their eyes. That is one lesson I've learned. Second lesson I've learned is that when a diplomat tells you yes, they mean perhaps. When they tell you perhaps, they mean no. When they tell you no, then they are no diplomats. I'll just repeat it so people can go and investigate what it means. I'm not going to explain that. When a diplomat tells you yes, they mean perhaps. When they tell you perhaps, they mean no. And when they say no, they are no diplomats. That's the lesson I took from my incarceration.
All right. you're talking about a diplomat. Now let's look at this the statement by Thibault Nagy when he expressed fears that Ambazonia may become one of those micro and failed states where the international community will need to pump in billions of US dollars in aid. In your reaction to that, you said, regarding what Mr. Nagy said about a new state and poverty in Africa, let me say Southern Cameroons will rather eradicate poverty in Africa. How?
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. And permit me start addressing diplomat Nagy's statement by quoting one of his comrades, one of his countrywomen, a woman of high repute, Hillary Clinton. What does she say? She says that part of diplomacy is to open a different definition to self-interest. Part of diplomacy is opening a different definition to self-interest. What Southern Cameroonians have not paid attention to are details of the circling and operation of the world. Southern Cameroonians are busy trying to get fame online. We are not paying attention. Ambassador Nagy is a diplomat. Diplomats, their statement can contain a whole pamphlet of exegesis if you wanted to interpret what they said. He didn't call Southern Cameroon and he didn't call La République du Cameroon. But in regards to the problem, he said the last thing the world needs is a poor African country. Now, he didn't address you, but now my concern is my own self-interest. So when I made that statement, I'm saying that if by chance that statement is referring to my territory, Southern Cameroon, I'm assuring him and anyone who cares to know that for the past 58 years, over 64% of the GDP of the Cameroons have come from my little Southern Cameroon. For the past 58 years, Southern Cameroon has been the breadwinner of that place called Cameroon. And Southern Cameroon has over 2,000 doctors working abroad, engineers and pilots and pharmacists, all sort of handy workers, IT experts, religious personalities. That is the last country that would have their independence and then be infringed by poverty in the next 2 years. No, Southern Cameroon is going to be the limelight, is going to be the touchstone of success for the entire Africa. So this is a way. I'm not a diplomat, but what I do is that I have the basics of education. The basics of education gives me the ability to think and to process my thoughts, to investigate, to research, to learn. What I do is that I'm in my revolution. What occupies me now as a person is this my revolution. I call it my revolution, and anybody can call it theirs. It is mine. I'm in my revolution to save myself, my children, my children's children, my neighbor's children, and my neighbor's children's children. That's what I want to do. It has taken a stage where, let me just finish this. It has taken a stage where I need to understand the international community, how they speak and how they walk. This means I have to start learning it because I want to speak with them. If you don't speak with them, you won't progress. To speak with them, you need to understand them and you need to learn their language. So this is what I think I'm focusing in doing now. Thank you.
Yeah. You have given a very good treatise there, but you have not answered my question. How would Southern Cameroonians and eradicate poverty in Africa? The question is the how.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I overspoke and missed that. All right. How shall we do that? Okay. There's a part of Southern Cameroon. It is called Menchub County. They have a fall there that can electrify the entire West Africa. Just to know that since 1960, Nigeria has not celebrated 1 hour of non-power failure. I'm here saying that one county in my territory can provide electricity for the entire Nigeria and more. And if we were to convert this into money-making machine, think about that. We have oil wells all over Southern Cameroon, not just what has been discovered in Dian in 1972 that led to the invasion of Southern Cameroon totally and completely. My investigation is that when you start seeing limestone deposits on surface area, it is high sign that there is foil beneath that. Sabga, where I come from, has huge deposit of limestone. This means there are minerals beneath that. What governs all of this? Now, the natural resources, we don't need to spill it out here because everybody knows what Southern Cameroon has as natural resources. We are at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. It comes across.
Abdul Karim, we have countries in Africa like Nigeria, South Sudan, and Angola with all the huge oil deposits, but these countries are poor.
Yeah, so I'm still answering your question. I was trying to name a few, perhaps some that you may have learned just now. I'm sure you didn't know that Sabga has this limestone deposit. That means a lot. Southern Cameroon has, I don't know about Sudan and all of these places. I'm talking about my own territory. Southern Cameroon has the right education, the right academia, the hunger for growth to empower the nation that will utilize these resources. And if we are at the center of Central Africa and part of West Africa, once our economy is blooming, by nature and by default, is going to impact the rest of Africa. So I'm not an economist, so don't expect me to give you the kind of answers you want now. So that is what I can say to that.
I'm interrogating or trying to understand what you meant by Southern Cameroonians are going to eradicate poverty in Africa. But then this brings me to another question. For most of the studies I read about poverty in Africa, the main source of poverty in Africa is corruption. That is the main source, because everything comes into the national treasury and then some few people take it for themselves and the rest don't have anything. Are you concerned that Ambazonians are moving towards that direction where within the state, people are going to embezzle, steal, and siphon state resources and cause poverty?
Oh yeah, that is a concern not just for Africa. Even here in the United States, there's corruption at high level. There's corruption everywhere, and of course, I'm concerned that my country cannot live like Republic for reasons that would some of those symptoms would also imply that there's high level of corruption, and I'm concerned that we cannot leave such a bad country to enter into our own new country without checking all of this. What does this bring us to? It brings us to the point where we have to build strong institutions. Why do people corrupt? Why do people do corruption? How do people even get the possibility to do it is the question. It's because the institutions are weak, the systems are weak and disorganized. We have to ensure that we don't have structures and systems that allow for that.
Are you concerned that Thibaut Nagi's statement about poverty in Africa or in Ambazonia could be because he has observed that there is corruption in the Ambazonian revolution? And that this corruption is going to lead to...
I'm not in his mind. I will not presuppose what he has not made clear. He said the least thing Africa needs is a poor nation. That's all he said, and that's what I heard. And we know that La République is already a poor nation. So I will not try to bend his ideas into my own willful thinking. But if that's what he meant, perhaps I'll say this. He needs to come and tell us how he has observed that. Which mechanism did he use, and how did he come to arrive at that? For the world to have always, like, for example, the Transparency International, to have always classified like Republic #1 as first in corruption, they have parameter. So if you're suggesting that diplomat Nagy presuppose that, we'd like him to come again and tell us what he used to analyze and prove that Southern Cameroonians are already exhibiting corruption.
Are you worried that there is corruption in the Ambazonian revolution, stealing, embezzlement, and siphoning of revolutionary resources?
Well, I'm worried that Southern Cameroonians are the disorganized truth against an organized lie. When you talk about corruption and embezzlement, we need to have proof for that. Southern Cameroonians across the board have received different funds for different things. For us to now conclude amid a revolution that someone totally and completely embezzled, we need to go beyond talking. We need to prove, we need to bring evidence. And evidence is not what you and I think. Evidence is what is qualified by the appropriate instrument to be evidence. But across the line, I will not say our leaders have been corrupt. There is a lot of mismanagement. There is a lot of misappropriation. But talking about corruption and talking about embezzlement, it's a game that I would not want to involve myself in. It requires in Islam to accuse people of stealing without proof is totally and completely uncalled for, and it's a sin. Now, but I can clearly state and prove that there has been mismanagement. I don't even need to say this. Many people have admitted, and we can see that all leaders in this revolution have mismanaged even information and resources one way or the other. But going to the level
But
of
you are accusing
outright
leaders of
corruption, I'm answering the
management and
question.
refusing to accuse them of corruption. What is the difference?
So I'm answering the question. Outright accusation of corruption and embezzlement. I underline the word because I know the definition of embezzlement. Given that I did management, I will not go that far. And if you can do it, then you help us so that you provide hard evidences so that we can be sure and take these people to account.
You are not of course I am not saying I should accuse people of corruption if you don't have any evidence. Do you have evidence of mismanagement?
Oh yes, there are clear evidences. There are a lot of mismanagement has occurred, and not just the greatest evidence I've had is even people coming to admit that they were mismanagement. I've heard many times on ABC, Comrade Chris admitting that they were mismanagement. So that is enough for me. And then coming from ground zero, there is a lot of mismanagement of information. I know when we talk of mismanagement, our mind wants to go to funds. What about information? What about when you leaders sit here in the diaspora and give us 10 different dates for lockdown? What do you call that?
No, Abdul. Here we are talking about me asking the questions, not you asking the questions. Like, I want us to talk within the framework of poverty and a micro failed state in Africa. That is what we're talking about, And I'm talking about, I do not really want to push this further, but I just take it that you say you're not going to accuse anybody of corruption, but you accuse them and recognize that they have mismanaged funds. Are you sure that there are any institutions put in place that can guarantee Amazonians that tomorrow there's not going to be any mismanagement of public funds?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. But I don't think we really have any good institutions yet. We're in a revolution. We are working in God, and it's difficult to address all of these things at the same time. But I'm sure that with the caliber of Southern Cameroonians that I know, and what we've gone through, definitely we cannot start our country with anything less than the appropriate institutions and the right instruments to ensure that we have total accountability, to ensure that we have the right system and the right structure with the right people helming this structure to avoid corruption and embezzlement, now using your word, and gross mismanagement that will swing a country into poverty. I'm sure we can do that. But right now, I don't think we have.
All right, thank you. We're running out of time, and I will need to fast forward the program. I'm sorry we started late. I know many people who are watching us would like to hear you talk about Switzerland. What are your expectations from Switzerland?
My expectation from Switzerland, I'm sure, is the same as any genuine Southern Cameroonian. Now, since we've come to this topic, permit me take a few minutes to give light to this topic. Many critique.
Abdul, I think we'll get to that. If you, I prepared for this in such a way that we'll definitely get to that. Just give me your expectations about what is happening in Switzerland.
No, you're asking me to make conclusions without even introducing the topic, which is unfair. But I'll give you. This is the first time I'm having such an interview. It doesn't make any sense. First of all, you want to ask me what is it before telling you the expectation, not asking me to make conclusions before explaining. My expectation is that Switzerland goes through and have both Southern Cameroons, like Republic of Cameroon, on the table that will lead us to the negotiation of our separation with La Republic of Cameroon. That's my expectation.
Thank you so much. And how did you end up in Switzerland? How did you become part of the team that is working in Switzerland?
By way of legitimacy, the thing I have legitimacy.
How do they think you have legitimacy? What legitimacy are you talking about?
By definition, legitimacy means people support you, period. So the Swiss, the thing I have legitimacy, I have the voice of the people. That's by definition legitimacy, right? Not legality.
Are you the are you the only individual who is invited to Switzerland, or there are other individuals plus Amazonian liberation movements that are there in Switzerland?
It is not my place to divulge that information. They contact people individually, and it's a matter of principle as members of ACT not to divulge information that do not really concern you, or the process in its entirety, like that. So I will talk here about myself.
You just said something that is making me curious. You said the process doesn't concern me, and people who are there don't. I should not be concerned. Am I not Southern Cameroonian enough to be concerned about what's happening there?
Say that again. Say that again. What did you say?
You just said something that is curious. You just said the process and the people who are there. Reason to set the basis for a more educative outcome. So, what are they doing in Switzerland?
They who?
What is the Swiss process? What is the Swiss initiative?
Now you're now asking right questions, and this is it. Southern Cameroonians, you must pay attention and listen to me. You cannot ask wrong questions and get right answers. If you want to get right answers, honest answers, ask honest, fair, and clear questions. What is the Swiss process? Let's begin by defining simple things. I've heard many people come here to say that Switzerland is negotiating between Southern Cameroon and Cameroon. Wrong information, uneducated and incorrect, wrong conclusion. We need to start by defining basic terms. What is a process? A process are a set of actions being carried out to arrive at a goal, period. What are the Swiss doing? Right now, they are at the level of free talks, talking to both parties, us and La République du Cameroon. They are going to bring Southern Cameroons, not us who are going there now. But as a matter of fact, a state of Southern Cameroon is going to be represented on a table, not by me who is going there now, by those who will be qualified, but by our scholars and negotiators that our scholars will provide, or the country will provide. Now this is pre-talks going on. What is going to be happening on the table? Negotiations. What is a negotiation? These are discussions aimed at arriving at an agreed point. This is what is going to happen. It has not happened. Now there is pre-talk, trying to organize to bring the countries. The question is, I've heard many arguments about Switzerland. I've heard many things people say. I'm asking the whole Africa. When I say the whole Africa, someone should not come and say this country did not do. But by and large, Africa helped South Africa during apartheid. What has South Africa said? One sentence about us. Namibia, Ghanaians, when I was in secondary school, Ghanaians have escaped and they were teaching in our schools. What have those people done as a country? A Western country comes and say, I want to mediate. I want to be in this process. And all we do, we come out, we insult diplomats, we criticize without understanding. We are invited, we run away. Why will I not go to listen to someone who says, I want to broker a process that will end you on a negotiation table with your enemy? What the hell do I want? Which country does it have to be? Which country would come that I will not have a stereotype idea about? If I refuse Gabon, I will refuse the United States. In other words, Southern Cameroonians, we keep talking about America today. The day America would come, others will say they are not going. Is that what we want? No. So to answer your question in a fair manner, the Swiss are undergoing what you call pre-talks. They are in the process of bringing us together. And I would tell Southern Cameroonians, look at me and listen to this. If La République is not on that table, it's because of me and you. I'm telling you this today from a point of authority. It's because of me and you. Our infighting, our insult, our childishness gave La République a way out. They were on their way to Switzerland until we pushed it away. So let's keep doing all this, but our people are dying. Our people are dwindling in number. People are giving birth in the forest. And most of these things come from the diaspora because we have our children here in our homes. They are going to school. Our wives are here. We are enjoying life. People are dying down there. And the process that will stop the hostility, bring La République on the table, we keep fighting it because we are comfortable. The war can go on for 20 years because you're here with your family. You are going to school. You can take your credit card, eat as you want, while people are dying and starving of hunger. This is unacceptable. So it be Switzerland, Japan, Jamaica, any country that would want to stop this war and bring justice to our people, I am ready to listen to them. If they don't make sense, I will quit. But until then, I will remain there.
Okay. Thank you very much for that basic understanding. Now, I have received leaders of the Ambazona Governing Council, the consortium, and the interim government led by Sisiko Ayutabe on this program, and we have spoken about this Swiss initiative. And they have given us the reasons for which they are not there. Briefly, they said they want at least that it should be a multilateral approach, and two, that the Switzerland should get a mandate from the United Nations Security Council. Is that something that Switzerland is open to?
Oh yeah, those are good requests, but I'm not the Swiss government. My concern is this: going there doesn't mean I'm qualified. I'm simply invited. But I have comrades who have been invited who would have had better ideas to push forward. We cannot be arrogant, my brother, that a mediator comes and invites us to come and listen. We refuse and write letters to them and expect them to reply at our behest. What stops us from going there as a people? Some of the things you've mentioned here are things I'll be happy if we have them. What stops us from going there as a people? Present all our ideas as a people. If they don't meet it, we leave as a people. Why must it be? Look, and what sickens me more? All of these reasons are all excuses. If people were approached first, these reasons would not be coming. It's simply because others were approached first and people were approached later. And this is why we have all of these excuses. What the concern is, we need to have our own cards as a people. If we are invited, are they calling us to tell us, go and give your country to La République? No. Come, we have a mediation process to explain to you. Let me finish. And we refuse to go. We write letters to them. My brother, there are things one could say here and there are things one could not say. To me, it's a big mistake to respond to mediators from a hindsight when you have the possibility to meet them face to face. If I was there with you, sir, and you ask a good question and they don't answer and you tell me, Abdul, let's go, I will tell them I'm going with my comrade because you didn't answer that question. But I will not allow you to answer from your room. You answer from your room when they have invited you. That is arrogance. That is undiplomatic. That is arrogance. That is undiplomatic, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. You just said they invited people and they refused to come. Earlier on, you said it's not the position of, it's not your position to tell those who have been invited or those who have not been invited to the program, but to Switzerland. But the question that bothers me is this: when I received all of them here, they told me they had communication with the HD, and they raised issues with the HD, but the HD did not give them clear answers, meaning they have spoken with the HD, and the HD has told them what they can do and what they cannot do, and to some extent, they did not give any clarity of purpose. So now that you are there, and from your preceding statements, you are interested in having these talks going on, are you going to work from within to resolve these procedural issues to let other Ambazonia movements come in?
Anything for Southern Cameroons, bro, but there are things we must clarify. Listen, bro, if you're right there now and you tell me that, Abdul, Puerto Rico think they can help us resolve this problem, they're asking me and you to go there, let them explain their plan. If I would sit and be arrogant and tell you that you go, but I'll write them a letter, that is a lot of disrespect to you and to them. What stops you from going to them? Me and you, we prepare and ask our questions. They don't answer one. We agree that if they don't answer one clearly, we leave. Why all this grandstanding? The grandstanding is simply because people don't have children starving in Bamenda and in Boya and in Kwakwa. That is the grandstanding. I really have been trying to wrap my mind around this whole thing. We wrote letter to SG. We have asked the question. They have not answered. I was in the third meeting. I was not in the first two, just to clear that. In that third meeting, I need to know which questions were answered and which questions were not answered, asked by us, and what our reactions were. Ask others you know who have participated in these meetings. Ask them the hit we give these people. I'll be happier if our comrades were by us than all of this grandstanding. All of this, sir, I'll tell you, because I know you're a good man. All of these things, sir, there is no ground, sound reason. It's only because it is not me who brought it. It is not me who started it. It is not me. I will not be there with you. It has to be something I bring. This is what pains me. I'll be the first person to leave streets, any table, not even Swiss table. I'll be the first person to leave if they cannot address genuine concern from a single comrade. I will leave. I told them that the day I would see a single federalist in this room that you brought us, or in this your whole thing, I'll be the first person to come out, tell Southern Cameroonians and leave. This is what I told HD. I mean, this is the pre-talks. This is where we have to go and present whatever. So now, permit me, let's exchange. Let's not have this traditional, you're a journalist and all of this. Let's not do that. Do you think when America starts, they'll just hold like public and put food on the table?
I'm concerned about your time. Mediations are done? Can you give us some more 15 minutes of your time? I'm concerned about the time. That's why I've been trying to.
Okay, let's asking you have a conversation. Do you think because the United States have the instrument to subdue a country, soon as they start a mediation, they will hold America and put on the table without going due process in a mediation? The thing is, most of us don't know mediation.
You've raised some issues here, and I just want us to be clear. I hope what you are saying that those who are not going or those who are not accepting this is because they don't have children back home is just a hypothetical, because I want to assume that those who are there too don't have children back home. So it's kind of a balance, and that could be a gross accusation, which I don't know. But what I'm trying to bring out here is, are these concerns raised genuine? Do you think these concerns are genuine?
I think I answered, but I don't know what you want me to say. They are only genuine to me to the extent where we are bold enough, mature enough, polite enough to present these things ourselves alongside other comrades to these people. It doesn't have to be Switzerland or America or Japan. We have to be responsible enough to pursue peace. Pursuing peace via justice, meaning that if someone identifies that you're fighting and calls you up, be responsible enough to come and say, okay, so what do you have to tell me? Have this exchange. Don't sit on that horse which you don't even have and write them long letters. These are genuine concerns, sir. There are some concerns that are not as genuine as that, but I want HD and Switzerland to answer every single question that will come from comrades who are concerned. But I would not want them to be answering from this far side. What does that imply? It simply puts us apart. If we are not mature enough at this point in time to realize that, even if we had differences in the past 3 years, this is the time we need to talk singular position. Singular position doesn't mean we speak from the same room, but we need to start approaching the revolution from one voice. That is the main problem with our revolution now.
Okay. That said, we are looking for solutions for the way forward, Abdul Karim. Would you advocate that those who are in there handle these issues with the Swiss so that the Swiss opens up the way for the rest of those who are not there to come in and lead Ambazonia to peace and justice?
Yeah, that's something I want. And again, it's the same question you spin. These people should be polite enough to accept invitations from any mediator, any facilitator, alongside their comrades and present this problem. This is still my position.
So what you are saying in effect is, if they don't want to come in, you would not want to talk about it. You will not want to see that it is eased from within, so that peace and justice can come back to Ambazonia or to Southern Cameroon.
Oh, you can say that, but I'm sure you don't know what I've done to talk with people one-on-one to ensure that we be on the same point, on the same page on this, approaching this issue. I've done my possible best talking to people one-on-one, begging literally. So of course I want, but I would not want a case where we are split in two camps. SG talk to some people and talk to other people. They should talk to us as one people. We challenge them as one people. Go with them as one people or dismiss them as one people. I would like that. I would not like where there was, okay, look, how many movements do we have now? I think 3 or 4. When SG corners this one and speak to them, corners the other one, how do we know if they are not playing us? Isn't it better that they were speaking to us as one man? We agree or we disagree and leave. So I would not want these cornering people to speak on one side. They should join. Let's all form and let's all come under one umbrella. Meet whoever that mediator or facilitator or country is. Speak as one man. Agree or disagree and leave or stay. This is my opinion.
All right. I trust you are working on that to get these movements coming together so that something can actually happen. And as you say, there is a lot of grandstanding on one side. Do you think communication and outings on the other side is facilitating those who are outside to come into? Don't you think both sides have to work on their communication?
Oh, yeah. No, Southern Cameroonians as a whole, there's a lot of mismanagement of information and poor communication. I agree that both sides have to. And again, never forget that I only joined in the third meeting, and other comrades have explained to me how hard they have tried to convince, even pay flight by themselves to meet other leaders and comrades and talk to them. And I myself, I have my own pound of flesh on that. I have my experience. It is just surprising that perhaps, let's say I am simply crazy about this, but I think it is better that we were listening to anyone who wants to talk to us as a people, disagree with them or agree. I think that would be better. Or maybe I just don't understand. I just don't understand, and that would be on my ignorance and lack of knowledge.
That is human nature anyway. But this is my question now. I've been thinking about this all along. Who is funding the Swiss process?
Who is funding the Swiss process?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What they told us. Again, I'm telling you that I'm representing just what I know here. What they told us, during the third meeting is that the United States, Canada, and other countries were in support of the process. And at that time, Canada and Switzerland were funding. At that time, so I don't know if someone else joined. At that time, Canada and Switzerland was funding those pre-talks. Yes.
All right. Where are we with the pre-talks?
Right now, let me see. Like you know, La République has not come out clearly whether or not they are on that table or whether they are on that table or not. They are playing games, hoping they could crush us militarily. And again, the excuse is on us. Who shall we talk with? Can't you see how scattered they are? That keeps coming. And so the Swiss talk is at, the process is at this level of making sure that we all are galvanized. And if we are not galvanized, sir, in that manner, that shows maximum galvanization in terms of legitimate majority, how can anyone force La République on any table? So imagine that the United States now decides to lead a process. But we have, again, a good portion of Southern Cameroonians who are radically skeptical about the United States. There is no mediator who forced the two parties. The two, at least one party has to be totally in unanimity for them to look at the other stubborn party. When the two parties themselves are dysfunctional, it is difficult for even a country like the United States to use her instrument. Where are we now? We are, ACT, for example, is doing well, very well, very well. And Southern Cameroonians, you would appreciate ACT in due course. They're doing very well. And then the contention now is La République du Cameroon. And La République du Cameroon has not closed any door. The doors are very open. The windows are open. That's the much I can say now. Like I told you, when diplomats say that yes, they mean perhaps. When they say perhaps, they mean no. When they mean no, they are no diplomats.
All right, let's look at the substance of the pre-talks. What is actually the substance of the pre-talks? I don't know.
Please clarify the question. What do you mean by substance of the pre-talks?
You said it's not negotiation in Switzerland. It is pre-talks, right? Yeah. So what is that? What are pre-talks? What are they talking about as pre-talks?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Now, pre-talks are talks you have in advance of the definitive talk. So, what I was trying to say is that people have always said that Switzerland is negotiating. Switzerland is negotiating. Perhaps you've heard that Switzerland is the negotiator. Perhaps you've heard that. I heard it even last 2 weeks. Switzerland is not the negotiator, but the mediating country. The negotiators are going to come from Southern Cameroonians and the opposition. We are going to be negotiating for ourselves. We, not us in the acts now, the experts. Perhaps Southern Cameroonian elders would even hire expert negotiators, and La République can come with experts or whatever. Switzerland is the mediator, is the referee of the whole thing. What are they doing now? They have to make sure that both parties are ready before there can be any negotiations. So you hear people come up and say, how can the mediator be giving people training on negotiation? They are not telling us what to say on the negotiation table, for crying out loud. They are telling you how ready you need to be. And they offer the same services to La République du Cameroon. They are telling you how ready you need to be, what you must put together before come to that. What do referees do? What does FIFA do? Don't FIFA tell the team, you need 13 people, you need this, you need that, you need this delegation, make sure your nails are cut. This is their job. As mediator, they need to tell you, inform you what you must bring into your negotiation. That is all they're doing, sirs. This is all they're doing. So that is the level. Those are pre-talks. Pre-talks mean, and people keep saying, oh, why don't we get all the prisoners out first? That is what you go to do on the negotiation table, for crying out loud. That is where you take your facts, you know. It's important to listen to me. Okay, it's important to listen to me.
Yeah.
This is what we go and do on that negotiation table. But we are killing the table before it starts. It is important because I have the impression many Southern Cameroonians are only followers. They have no knowledge of what it's all about. Switzerland is not the negotiator. Negotiators would come from the opposition. Switzerland is the mediator, and if they say they are the mediator, it is their duty to explain to the parties what negotiations are and what they need to do before arrive there. I'm not here defending Switzerland. This is what will happen if any other country takes up the job.
I have taken that, and I hope viewers have also taken that. But now, what I want you to clarify. Have their own experts to verify if this information they are giving ties with standard practice?
Oh yeah, they do. For example, I do. I have counseling from elderly Southern Cameroonians that I give, which I don't need to divulge. And this is again the dilemma.
No, I'm talking about experts who can counter the expertise that they have, not senior people, but experts in the field of armed conflict resolution. In the resolution of armed conflicts.
Well, this is to counter what? To counter the advice they're giving?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yes,
is
sure. Sure. So I've told you I don't have money to go and hire any expert, but I'm telling you that I have people who are counseling me and advising me. I'm asking for advice in different places. And we have other organizations like the IG, the Socadev, the Morix. They have experts advising them. And it is not their place to necessarily share their expert to me, but I also get advice even from them.
no. My question is about present in the room during HD talks. Do they go along with, like, you go when you're going to court, for instance, you go with your lawyer who debates with the other lawyer.
Those are pre-talks. Those are pre-talks, and SG has the prerogative to invite who they invite. Those are pre-talks. Those are not negotiations, and they give you handouts. You have the lessons. You can take it back and check it with your lawyer, with anyone that you want. It is not. They don't have all the resources to accommodate all the experts and all of these things. And if this is something we wanted as a people, if we wanted experts, what do we need to do? We need to come together as a people, unite as a people in such pre-talks, and tell them that, okay, we will require experts at this time. And even if they could not help with that, we can raise our own funds and come along with these experts. The problem is the misunderstanding with a mediation process. Comrade Galim, this is the third book I'm reading on mediation process. This one. Just to understand, just to get myself understanding what a mediation is. Because I'm not a negotiator. I'm not going to be anywhere close to the room of negotiations. I'm not going to be there. I'm not an expert. But this is the point where they want to bring your people together, and they call you and want to explain to you. You don't want to come. You sit from the hindsight and you give them long letters to read. It's funny. Trust me, it's funny. I don't understand.
All right. So from this, I understand that the leaders who are going to Switzerland and doing the pre-talks with Amazon, with the HD, are having experts from without who do not sit with them. But then last week, I'm citing John Bakuro because he was here last week, and he said when this were in the very first meeting that HD organized with Amazonian leaders, he felt something was not right. Coming from a posture of a diplomat, he felt something was not right, but without having had enough training or experience as a conflict mediator whatsoever, he decided to touch base with his colleagues and tell them this thing is not right. Have you come across that kind of information cross-checking confrontation within yourselves? Like, this thing does not sound right from here, from the HD? Have you guys come across talking about such things?
Yeah, those are discussions we always have. I mean, we are not sleeping on the process. Neither are we sitting on our hands. We ask harder questions than you people may ever imagine. But the point is that you cannot ask these questions. For you to understand diplomacy, you need to approach diplomats. For you to get to truth, you need to get closer to truth. You cannot ask these questions and you will not even know when to back out if you didn't even start to begin with. So we are asking even harder questions. We are hitting even harder than you guys will imagine. I simply wish all of us were together to ask even more harder questions. And yes, we are doing. When we smell, we ask hard. And again, Southern Cameroonians would be grateful with act in due course.
All right, I think it's necessary you take experts in there to talk with them to counter expert intelligence or expert knowledge, so that as you move forward, you know exactly where you stand. Ladies and gentlemen, 10-1 conversation today is on 2 segments, and in a moment I will be bringing in the chairman, the president of the SCBC board of directors to talk to us about the innovations on SCBC. But before we get to that, let me thank Abdul Karim for having spent part of his feast day with us, talking to Ambazonians about this, and me making his life uncomfortable here, spoiling your feast day. It's the vocation, it's the journey, it's the revolution. Thank you very much for coming, Abdul Karim. If you have any last word, you can give it now.
Oh, you're most welcome anytime. And just so people understand, I'm sure the other countries you want to lead a process in between us and La République du Cameroon have diplomatic ties with La République du Cameroon, have business ties with La République du Cameroon. What Southern Cameroonians should be concerned about is their own interest. Stop thinking about other people's interests. Everybody has an interest. Diplomacy, politics is interest. Think about yourself. Think about your own self, what you can do. Play your own cards. Stop calculating other people's cards. All the countries that would come would have an interest. The problem is, what do we do about this? Is why it is called a negotiation. What do we do as a people? And the only time we can do things that will be reasonable, mature, concrete, and resultful is when we reconsider our position of split, come together as a people, recognize that we are not fighting for ourselves, we are not fighting for our egos, but we are fighting for motherland. That should be the bottom line. We should recognize that this is not singular fight, but a fight for a country. Thank you very much, and I trust I attempted your difficult questions.
Thank you very much for coming to the program, Abdul Karim. We wish you a splendid rest of your day as you celebrate your feast with family and friends. Ben, can we have some transition, please? And we have Mr. Francis Ntumbe, the chairman of the SCBC board. He's going to talk to us about the innovations and evolution that we have been observing on SCBC over the last few weeks. Welcome to the program, Chairman.
Thank you, Comrade Galim. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, SCBC is back on air, on satellite. SCBC is back on the territory of Southern Cameroon. SCBC is back in Sub-Saharan Africa, and SCBC is on almost all streaming devices out here in the Western Hemisphere. How do you feel about this progress?
It's exciting. It's exciting. We are very happy. We are really happy for Ground Zero, for the people in the diaspora who have been giving us a lot of support, and we're excited because it is committing us to work, and we are spending sleepless days and nights to make sure that everything is put in place as concerns quality, as concerns the programming, and also as concerns the outreach of the programs themselves.
Oh, thank you. I know we've been having great quality over the last 3 weeks or so, despite one or two technical hitches. Technical things are all down to human works, so it's normal to have these difficulties. But should Southern Cameroonians and Bazonians be worried that as days go by, the quality may be dropping?
No reason at all. No reason at all. We have identified where the quality problems are coming from, and we have taken necessary steps to intervene and to solve them out. I think this is a very crucial moment for SCBC, and a very important one with very high and great expectations. And we are breasting ourselves to make sure that we give the people what they merit. Let us not also forget that we are in a revolution, and all the services at SCBC are voluntary. And we need Ambazonians to bring in their savvy, their know-how, and their technological expertise to help improve the quality of the television. That notwithstanding, however, comrade, we want to promise our people that they will have better times coming.
There was some time SCBC was not on air. Have you identified the problems that caused SCBC to go off air, and have you taken the necessary steps to prevent such blackout again?
Very, very, very important question, very strong one. Yes, well, I think it's good for us to have a look back, to go behind and see where it all started. I think this is very important for people to know, even though we believe gradually people are beginning to understand and to work together with us and collaborate with us to see that SCBC never goes off again. We really owe this to Ground Zero And many of us have vowed, we have avowed actually, that SCBC will never be taken off air again. That notwithstanding, there have been so many overheads, there have been so many problems, so many issues, especially the principal main issue, which was that of the schism that happened between within the IG system itself, wherein one part decided to go and form another television while we had another television standing. And they went with all the resources we had built together for them. They took these resources, even including the financial resources with them. And this, to anybody, just imagine that you are in business with somebody and all of a sudden overnight, the next day, you discover that your partner has taken everything away and you are left stranded. Put yourself in those shoes, and you would accept with me and agree with me that we had a strong and a tough challenge before us. This didn't only happen because they went away, but they went away with a certain kind of propaganda. The IG system was a system we all built, and if they went away with such great force, even their propaganda machinery was strong enough to win the hearts of people or convince people by manipulatory ways that we did something wrong, which when actually we didn't. And so when people had to believe, because even if I was in their own shoes, maybe I would have believed also, maybe. But again, we stood strong, we stood firm. We believed that what our decision for the television was right, that we stood to defend the state institutions. And I think it's paying off now. There's something I've learned as experience from this, that it's good to stand and fight for what you think is right.
Mr. Chairman, before now, we do not have the Ambazonia Governing Council, the Ambazonia Defense Forces, the consortium coming in on this TV station. And observers have noted that they are part of a coalition that is working night and day to bring the Southern Cameroon's broadcasting TV back on air. But now my question to you is, are the reasons for which these other movements were not on air still present and significant within the SABC TV, or have these been shelved?
Wow, your questions are very well framed, and they are tough also to answer. Anyway, we shall try. Well, you see, it all boils down to the mentality of the revolution. When this revolution started, it was a kind of collective mentality. I always say that it was an angelic voice, and everybody just like went along it, following it, that voice. But there came a certain moment when people started putting before everything the I factor, that it must be me, it must be me, it must be me in this. If it is not me, if it is not I, and it's not going to work. Now, we came into the board as representatives of constituencies into this board. This board did not come from the air. It was because the people were together. There was a unity of purpose and action. And this board decided to create an executive board to follow up the day-to-day running of the activities. Now, SABC had always had a policy of openness, to encourage debate, to encourage exchange. But if you would agree with me, there's a period where all Ambazonians were not ready for such a debate, and this hampered the activities, the intentions of SABC. I remember one time we brought Ayabacho on TV some 2 years ago, and the acting cabinet at that moment got so angry with us, and I think that was where everything destroyed, got ended, with our relationship with them, because they couldn't accept us.
You must have followed my conversation with Abdul Karim, and the onus or the foundation of the problems in this revolution, in this liberation movement, is about collaboration. Do you think we are still at a position where everything is going to break down in the future? Because I was talking to Karim about the Swiss talks, and the problem is collaboration. He was talking about I versus we versus they. And now it seems as if that is the same thing that happened here. Has the mentality gone? Can you swear to Ambazonians that mentality is gone from SABC?
Yes, I followed your conversation with Abdul Karim, and I saw how he gave you so much heat. I think it depends on the willpower. I think it depends on the willpower, on how we see this struggle, that it's a collective not. Okay, the point here is people still see themselves, as I said, as groups, and everyone is trying to defend the interests of their groups, and this is just the normal. It's a normal human characteristics. Because if I am a supporter of Inter Milan, I would not support all the ideas and policies of Milan AC, and I will not support Juventus. I will not support Roma, and this also happens like with Arsenal and Manchester. And so when you create different structures, what happens is that those structures have their leaderships, those structures have their colors, those structures have their own supporters and fans, and it becomes difficult, to bring them together, but not impossible. I am a very strong advocate of collaboration. Collaboration doesn't mean that we must all become the same, we must wear the same clothes. Collaboration means that we should look for avenues where we can boldly work together without suspicions, without doubts, that we should put our legs into the hot plate, and then try to make sure that we take decisions and implement decisions which are for the general good. And this is what we are trying to do as SABC. As SABC, we have always stood firm on this, that SABC is independent in the sense that it's true we've had a very good and peaceful collaboration and working system with the IG, but we have always stood tall to the Ambazonian community to tell them, guys, fellows, movements and groups and so on, SABC is for you. Our doors are open, the programs are open for you, and I believe most of these groups and movements are beginning to understand this as of now. It's not an easy process, but it depends on willpower. As I said before, we must be convinced. It is us to instill confidence in the others who are doubtful. So if we have to do this, we must be firm and strong. We must first of all believe in ourselves and in our own means to do something. If we believe in ourselves, I don't think we shall be able to be, somebody can come and shake in our identity, somebody can come and shake in our determination to move forward.
All right, thank you. There is a sense out there that SABC is coming out to challenge another television that is pro-Ambazonian. Is that the notion at the board today?
This makes me to laugh. Maybe some people have lost the memory. Maybe some people have really lost the memory. I remember in late 2016, when this crisis started, and we found our people defenseless in front of the brutal reprisal of La République. And some of our comrades who happen to be residing in South Africa now came up with the idea that how can we really assist in this struggle? So they started brainstorming to see whether they should create a radio or a TV, or maybe to create some mechanism that can influence the technologies of La République. And as things unfolded in early 2017, La République cut internet from our people. And that is when our comrades were convinced that the right direction to take is to create a television that will be a platform for massive information, for massive education, and for advocacy of our situation, of the injustices and marginalizations that we were receiving at that time to the international community, and to encourage our people in ground zero that we are by their side. Now, this memory, this is a legacy. I don't know if people remember that it is SABC that covered demonstrations in New York in front of the Glass House, It is SABC that covered all those demonstrations in Europe and all across Africa. It is SABC that on 2017, on September 22nd of 2017, on that fateful Friday, that our people had for themselves a form of referendum to decide what they think we need as a nation. Our people clamored for a new nation. We cannot forget the 1st of October of 2017 when our president, Sisiko Ayuk Tabe, announced the creation of, or the restoration of our state, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. These things are in the archives of SABC. SABC keeps the legacy of this revolution. SABC keeps the legacy, the archives of everything that is ongoing in this revolution. I don't see any other media who can boast of those issues. So we are not in competition anyway. We accept. We don't cherish that we have a television on the other side. We don't cherish it because I give you why we don't cherish it. Because money is being spent, money which was supposed to be used on one TV is being spent, okay, for the sake of simple competition when our people are dying, when our people are suffering, when our people are internally displaced, and we use a lot of money to fund different televisions. For me, this is not wise. It's just a matter of lack of wisdom here. So we should not be encouraging a lot of competition, spending money on different television platforms and so on, when we can use one as a people. Thank you.
That comes down, Mr. Chairman, to collaboration, tolerance, and accommodating each other. Because, yep, like you said, the SABC is very open to everybody, but history does not show that SABC was actually very open to everybody, per what people have been saying about SABC over the last few years. So I take it from you that SABC is now very open to everybody. And would you open SABC up to those you say broke SABC down?
Sorry, I had an interrupting call. Could you repeat your question, please?
All right. The bottom line of what you are saying is that SABC is open for collaboration with everybody. So now, just to resume the question very simply, is SABC open to welcome those who brought it down and those who have caused the TV station to kind of diversify finances that should have been sent for one agenda?
I want to assure you that the person speaking in front of you is somebody who believes a lot in peace, is somebody who believes a lot in collaboration. And I can boast that I have taken steps to make sure that we collaborate even with people we don't agree with. I don't want to call names, but I have written to them on various occasions. I have called some of them on various occasions, and all my offers for us to try to even amalgamate SABC with them and try to see how we can divide the slots were met with a refusal. And I found myself like, it's like you are begging, kneeling down in front of somebody who wants to abandon you, and you are still begging him, please, let's stay, let's find out a solution, So, in as much as these ideas are ideal, in as much as we all want them, there must be a reciprocal willingness to make them, to implement them. That's why you can see, it's not me to say, I would have loved to announce today about a collaboration that is ongoing, but we have decided to do it in a proper way, to announce it together in front of the Ambazonian people that we are willing to follow up every aspect of collaboration. Actually, this new SABC, if we have to call it new, this new era of the SABC has one catchword: collaboration. And collaboration calls upon itself a lot of responsibility, a lot, from all sides. Because as we said, people are coming from their different corners, from their different experiences, from their different ways of doing things. And it is for them to come in with a level of maturity and level-headedness and great responsibility. So I want to assure you, comrade, we are ready for collaboration and to open up our TV space to anyone who believes in this revolution.
All right. Talking about collaboration and having a SABC on air, what keeps television is content. If the content is good, if the lighting and all the rest are good, if there is content on TV, people are going to watch that TV, and of course the TV is going to stay afloat if there are resources. What are you injecting into the program section to ensure that people have that feel, that relationship with SABC TV?
Perfect. SABC, as the board and as the management, has been, as I said, passing sleepless nights to make sure that we put a team, a formidable team, that can make sure that we handle all the various aspects that have to deal with editorial and with programming and with content. We have created a content team of great independent minds like Salas Atefo and Ngalim, who is here with me in this interview. These are guys who shall handle our programs programs committee to make sure that people who want to come on TV, people who have their contents, are all welcome on the TV. But we are not only waiting, we are not just sitting there and folding our arms that we want people who would propose to come. We are also contacting important personalities, people whom we think that they can beef up, the quality of content and the quality of programming, and to improve the image and impression we have of the television. As you know, when we had the break off, many content providers also abandoned because they couldn't stand it anymore. There were a lot of insults and so on. But I think the climate is changing. The atmosphere is becoming more friendlier and more amicable. And I think that it's a period and a moment where we are seeing an uprise in viewership, an uprise in general viewership, not only on specific shows, but we can see that from the statistics we have everywhere in the world. Do you know that one of our greatest viewers of SABC are from Brazil? I think you can confirm that to me. From Brazil, can you imagine? They are one of our greatest viewers. So we have our people coming in. We have also another important thing which I want to say, Comrade Ngalim, is that we want to be very strict on the quality of our viewers. We, SABC, want to promote a viewership that is educated. Educated does not mean you cannot criticize. But we shall not allow insulting language. We shall not allow offensive language. We shall not allow that brutal competition within groups and movements to continue under the performance of SABC. So, in this respect, we think that we are also improving in that direction. Now, what can we say? I think in everything, when a baby is born, it's just that we have to make sure that we give enough food, enough water to the baby, and to observe it as it grows.
Yeah, so now, the principal objective of SABC TV, from my understanding, is to keep the revolutionary information afloat and keep people educated and unbrainwashed, if we can put it that way, those who have been brainwashed by other propaganda and the Republic and all the rest. Now, from ground zero, have you had feedback from those who are on the territory about what is happening with the new SABC?
Wonderful, wonderful, and wonderful. When SABC came back on air, we received so many messages of gratitude and appreciation from ground zero. Our force, comrade, is ground zero, not Facebook. Not Facebook. Our force is ground zero. And ground zero is very receptive. Ground zero is very educated. The comments from ground zero are very, very important, notable for our revolution. And we really want to change the narrative that has been going to ground zero. You see, in the absence of SABC, you saw how our people had started, assaulting each other, and in some occasions killing each other. We don't want that. Many of our of the defense forces were even attacking civilians And this is not what we stand for as a people. Let's not forget that we started this revolution with green leaves. We still remain a peaceful people. If we have people fighting in ground zero and defending our people, it's because they need to defend them. If they don't defend our people will all be killed, and our legacy will all be erased in the history, the annals of history of all society. And so what SABC is doing now is to put an educative, ethical, revolutionary narrative that our people will understand in simple terms. If you watch the interview with Dr. Ngasa, with the VP, and you saw the number of phone calls that they received in that interview on Ask Question, you would begin to notice that things are turning around and our people again are being fed with the right spirit food, with the right spiritual food that they need in this moment to encourage them to move to the next level. So we are there as SABC, we are there as guarantors of this, and we hope that our people in ground zero will gradually start understanding and start being decisive on action taking.
Thank you. Are we expecting you to come someday and launch some fundraising to sustain the TV, or has the TV already had some fundraising structures that would ensure the TV is on air? Because so far I have not seen adverts on this on SABC TV.
Okay, good. You know, SABC has been like a father to in the revolution, and SABC as a father wouldn't want to milk the people when it is not necessary. We've always had the support of IG, which is now IGK, and we are having support from different groups now, which we shall announce. But most importantly is that we have always looked into the weather. We have always looked at what is more important. Is it us or is it our people? And so most often when we found that there were some important fund operations going on, we thought it wise to instead promote those guys doing the funding, and then if they would want, they can give SABC something. But I think the tides are turning around, the tides are changing, and SABC also needs to be competitive, not because it's a money-making machine. SABC needs to guarantee its sustainability. There is nobody in the board who is being paid in this. There is nobody in the management who is being paid. We are doing this as a voluntary service, but we believe that it is our duty also, it is our call to make sure that we do a campaign that will sustain SABC, not for 1 month, not for 2 months, but constantly over the years as we move along in the revolution, as we seek also to get negotiations that will bring liberation to our people. So certainly, comrade, I want to assure you, SABC is coming strong, asking for people to dip their fingers into their pockets and do something to help the revolution.
All right, thank you. So what is the future of SABC 2 years from today?
Bright. I would say bright emphatically, because I read into the mindset of people and the responses that we receive from people. Many people are encouraging us. Many people are happy with what we are doing. Many people are telling us that, guys, don't give up, we shall overcome. And so if they are telling us not to give up, it is our own moment now to reassure them that the groundwork we are doing, what we have done in the background and what we are doing shall become visible and shall be unveiled, and everybody shall notice that there have been some people behind this, and these people are determined to lift Ambazonia higher and to make SABC not only an important communicative tool for the people in Ambazonia, but also for Africa at large. We hope to become the kind of Al Jazeera for Africa.
All right, thank you. So SABC is streaming on satellite all across Sub-Saharan Africa. It's also on Roku, on App Store, on Google Play, on Amazon App Store, and on Smart TV. And it's Smart TV compatible. So I see a lot of technical work has been done in the background to ensure that that SABC goes beyond Facebook. So that's the technical team is kind of doing some impressive work from the background. Sometimes we talk about those who appear, those who anchor programs, and those who can make a lot of noise here, forgetting that the base, the solid rock, is the technical department. How is that department faring?
Thank you very much. I think we cannot leave this interview without me thanking Comrade Penn, Comrade Ben, Comrade Raymond, Comrade Derek, who are all there in South Africa in our studio and are doing everything to make sure that SABC is a living example and a living experience to our people. Whenever I think about them, I think about Penn and Ben who are there working 24 on 24. Comrades, never forget, SABC is not a Facebook page wherein you just come for 1 hour and you go away. SABC is a full-fledged television that works 24/7. And so only applauses can be given to these comrades. And don't, we don't even want to mention how much they use from their own pockets to make sure that they buy some materials, they buy some equipments to make sure that they can provide people with better quality, with better impressions and better renditions. So my kudos to them. I would love to doff my hat for them and to tell them that, comrades, do not get discouraged. Let politicking not push you aside, make you shy. Do not be embarrassed with questions. Keep strong, be resilient, and we shall make it what we have intended for it to be. We shall overcome it, and we shall be atop not for ourselves, together with our people, as we are creating an SABC community all around the globe, where we shall have SABC clubs of people, of fans and supporters and donors to sustain this television and make it a real pride at the hub of the Gulf of Guinea.
One word for activists who are selling the identity and the uniqueness of SABC online.
Activists. I am a great supporter of activists, even though I don't believe in activists as absolutes. I believe in people who work together every day, who sit in meetings to plan policy. But I think that the role that activists are making is enormous and it's very vital. And we in the past created an activist corner. But this time around, we don't want to create only an activist corner. We want to allow these activists, we are talking to them, we are giving them calls to come to take this television as theirs. They might have their own personal forums and platforms, but once it comes to SABC, even activists should be the first people to propagate the idea that it's for general consumption. So we are calling upon the activists. I will call a few of them, Mark Barretta, Eric Tato, Capo Daniel, Tapang Ivo, to come on TV. But please, my fellow brothers, friends, activists, SABC is a television, as I have said, and a television, there is need for responsibility. Nobody wants to change your ideas. Nobody wants to change the way you think. But please, the kind of language we shall use on SABC cannot be the same as the language we use on our platforms. And so this responsibility is a collective responsibility, and all of us are called upon to support it and to guarantee its success.
Thank you very much, Chairman. We are rounding up, and any last word for your viewers?
Well, for my viewers, I want to greet all the people who are watching now in Ground Zero. I want to greet all those who are watching from the prison cells. I want to greet also our leadership in prison, our President Sisiko Ayuktabe, to encourage him to be strong, that the devil can think to be strong, but the devil is actually weak, and that at the end of everything, truth prevails. I want to encourage all our people, our mothers and our fathers who are there, and to tell them that we have them at heart, and that we shall never, never, never allow wrong doctrine to inculcate into their brains and into their minds. We are there to give them peaceful information, fresh information, information that is going to encourage them to live their lives in a humble way, because it's not easy what they are passing through now. For those in Ground Zero who are tired, who have been calling that they are tired of this struggle because it has been longer than what they expected, I would encourage them to be stronger and let them wait a little more. Let them keep cool a little more. That God who has called this struggle, God who is guiding this struggle, will make it to come to pass. From the point of view of collaboration, I want to inform our audience again, our viewers again, that you guys also be ambassadors of collaboration. You guys also reshape your language, reshape the way you speak to people, the insults and so on. We know it's not easy. We still have the wounds of the divisions inside us, but it takes people's wills to change things. And if we want to change things, then this is the moment. I think we have no better moment like this to make sure that the face of the revolution is healed and that it shines, and that the international community can appreciate it. And I think they do, because they are by our side. Despite all the noise we might hear, we have many places that people are going for negotiations. Before, there was Abdul Karim here, who came to SABC TV, who believes in the Swiss agenda. Some of us don't. Some of us are very doubtful. I myself am very doubtful. And when Abdul Karim came here today, he made me to be more doubtful of it, because he didn't say for one second what they said to the Swiss people. We don't know what they're going to do there.
I will not like
anyway,
to talk about Abdul Karim.
I will end up.
I don't have to talk about him now. About his interview. We can talk about that if it's on the panel. We can talk about that.
No. Sorry. I wasn't talking much about him. I was talking about the collaboration. However, because I wanted to wrap it up, that even though we don't believe in it, we shouldn't be insultive. We shouldn't insult any person. We should respect people with their ideas, and that's why you brought Abdul Karim here. That's another proof of collaboration, because he's also somebody we need in the revolution. And so what I will conclude is that, without, I know your time is off, let's be strong. Let's have faith. And if we have the right vision, we know that that same energy, that same momentum that we had before, we shall meet it, we shall overcome, and we shall get our independence as we are fighting for it. It's our right, and nobody can take it away from us. Nobody can stop us from it. We shall continue to fight for it, and we shall make sure that the international community supports us on it, and that we win. We win because you cannot win if you have not fought. You can win only after you have fought. And since we are fighting, we are confident that we shall win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Dear viewers, thank you very much for listening to this brief conversation with the Chairman of the Southern Cameroon's Broadcasting Corporation TV Board, Mr. Francis Ntube. It's been a very good and pleasant Sunday with you. We thank you very much for watching. Heartfelt gratitude to Abdul Karim, who was here an hour ago to talk about his views on the Amazonian, the Southern Cameroon's liberation movement. And also, in a special way, we are thanking Bernard Angu, who is working on the techniques together with Pen Tangu. And at the anchor, I have been Ngalim Bernard, Barka de Salah. And we are here same time next week, 7 p.m. Amber time on SCBC TV. In the interim, you can watch SCBC TV either on satellite throughout Sub-Saharan Africa, or you can watch us on Roku, App Store, Google Play, Amazon App Store, and on your smart TV. You can enjoy my dark image today. These are things that we are fixing along the line. Thank you very much, and we wish you a splendid week ahead. Bye-bye.
Oga na foul. All that. Hey!
One Congress na junto wu to SCBC o to SCBC.
Bó máa ń gbé ètò ara SCBC.
Babangamba
Mun tong tok bo chama mun sungam bare abo ye bene be cham kong se kwese SBC. SBC ba le ne bo ne longzal bu grab kwese bene chama ndongwe. Ye na to ta bene kwese SBC. Me ya go.
Aha. SCBC. Now we own. Now we the people in Amazonia. Now we think. If you like SCBC, sponsor SCBC. Support SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC is your television. It's a communal project of the people of Amazonia. Come join us to support SCBC. If you love SCBC, fund SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC, the voice of Amazonia. Oga now foul. All that. Hey.
Wan kom rese na junte wu to SCBC o to SCBC.
Bomangbe etwara SCBC.
Babengamba. Mun tong tok bo chama mun sungam bare abo ye bene be cham kong se kwese SBC. SBC ba le ne bo ne longzal bu grab kwese bene chama ndongwe. Ye na to ta bene kwese SBC. Me ya go.
Aha. SCBC. Now we own. Now we the people in Amazonia. Now we think. If you like SCBC, sponsor SCBC. Support SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC is your television. It's a communal project of the people of Amazonia. Come join us to support SCBC. If you love SCBC, fund SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC, the voice of Amazonia. Oga now foul. All that. Hey.
Wan kom rese na junte wu to SCBC o to SCBC.
Bomangbe etwara SCBC.
Babengamba. Mun tong tok bo chama mun sungam bare abo ye bene be cham kong se kwese SBC. SBC ba le ne bo ne longzal bu grab kwese bene chama ndongwe. Ye na to ta bene kwese SBC. Me ya go.
Aha. SCBC. Now we own. Now we the people in Amazonia. Now we think. If you like SCBC, sponsor SCBC. Support SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC is your television. It's a communal project of the people of Amazonia. Come join us to support SCBC. If you love SCBC, fund SCBC. Bataroki. SCBC, the voice of Amazonia.
Soaring inflation, a scarcity of foreign currency, and a huge public debt are among the country's most pressing challenges. Many in Sudan still have to queue for hours to buy bread. Previously, a Sudanese pound, the equivalent of about 2 US cents, made it possible to buy 70 grams of bread. But with this new increase, the population can only buy 50 grams of bread for the same price.
Get all the international and African news on africanews.com.